everybody, I hope you're all okay. Welcome to your first English learning episode with me. Now, I am going to be teaching your English learning episodes for the whole of this half term on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays and Fridays. Now, over the next 3 weeks, we are going to be learning how to write a specific type of text, just like we would do in school. Today, we're going to find out what that text type is, and we're going to learn about some of its features. Okay, now on the screen, you can see a text. I want you to think about what type of text this is. I'm going to read the text to you, and as I'm reading it, I want you to think about some of the features that you are spotting. After we've read the text, I will reveal what type of text this is, and you can check if you're right. Okay, so I know that this text is all about sharks. I'm going to read some more to find out more information. There are more than 500 different species of shark, including the great white shark, grey reef shark, hammerhead shark, and tiger shark. Where do they live? Sharks can be found in every ocean. The most shark attacks have been in Australia, South Africa, America, and Brazil. What do they eat? Some types of shark can be deadly, but only about 12 species have ever attacked humans. Now, I know that there are more than 500 different species of shark, and if only about 12 species have ever attacked humans, that's not really a lot. What sharks eat depend on its species and where it is. Most sharks are meat eaters, so they like to eat fish and other sharks. Some larger sharks eat dolphins, sea lions, and small whales. Wow. Smaller sharks eat small aquatic life like clams and crabs. Now here, inside this box, I know that I can read about some big facts. So big fact number 1, a group of sharks is called a shoal, school, or shiver. Fact number 2, sharks have a skeleton of cartilage and no bones. How interesting. So sharks do not have bones like us humans. And big fact number 3, a baby shark is called a pup. Now, in the top corner just here, I can see 2 images. Here, I can see an image of a specific type of shark. And underneath, I have a little box with some writing in that says grey reef shark. So I know that this shark in the image is called a grey reef shark. Underneath, I can see another type of shark. I think I know which type of shark this is, but I can read this information underneath to find out. This is a school of hammerhead sharks. Now I know that school of sharks means a group of sharks. That was big fact number 1. So behind this hammerhead shark that you can see, there are lots of different hammerhead sharks. Okay, now I have read that text to you, I wonder if you have figured out what type of text we are learning to write. Shall we check? Well done if you remembered that this type of text is called a non-chronological report. Now that means that it is a report that doesn't follow a time order. So the information that's given in the report doesn't need to be presented in a particular order because it doesn't follow a sequence of time. It doesn't matter where you put the information. Now, hopefully you can remember that we wrote a non-chronological report all about light last half term. When we learn about a text type, we use our tree map that you can see here to think about its different features. So all of the text that we've learnt about so far in year 3, we have learnt about their purpose. So why is this text written? we have learnt about our audience. Who is the text written for? We learn about their presentation, so what it looks like on the page. And we also learn about the type of language that is used in that type of text. So the words, phrases, and sentences that are used. Now, the purpose of a non-chronological report is to give information. Just like in the text that we've just read about sharks, it has given us lots of information about sharks. Now, I have a question for you. If a non-chronological report is giving information, is it a fiction text or a non-fiction text? What do you think? Well done if you think that it is a non-fiction text. It is non-fiction because it is about real factual information. Now, the audience of a non-chronological report, so who is the text written for? Well, it can be anybody. You might read a non-chronological report that is specifically for school children. You might read a non-chronological report that is specifically for adults. Or a non-chronological report may be written for a specific group of people. Now, if we think about the text that we've just read about sharks, more than likely, children or adults who are interested in sharks will read that. Over the next 2 days, if we fast forward, we are going to be learning about the presentation features and the language features of a non-chronological report so that we can use these features in our writing too. So today, our what is to understand the presentational features of a non-chronological report. How are we going to do that? By practicing new learning. Why? So that we can identify presentational features in a non-chronological report all about ancient Greece. Okay, so let's rewind. The presentation means how is the text laid out on the page? So when you look at a piece of text, what are the features that you see? What jumps out to you on the page without even reading the text? So I want you to think about that. I want you to think of some examples of presentational features that you have seen in text before. Now, in this little thought bubble, I have put an example of a newspaper report, because when we were learning how to write a newspaper report, we unpicked lots of presentational features. I can already think of an example here. I can see big bold letters. I remember that that was called a headline. Can you look at this newspaper report and think about any other presentational features that you can spot? Pause the video and talk about that with someone around you. Great work, everybody. Hopefully you've managed to think of some presentational features. Now, I am going to share some presentational features with you and help you to identify these in other texts. Okay, so here you can see a table. We've got the presentational features, how we can identify them, and then an example from the non-chronological report about sharks that we read together. The first presentational feature is a title, okay? Now, all non-chronological reports will have a title. The title summarizes what the whole report is about. It's usually at the top of the page and it's big and bold so that it catches the reader's attention. The example from the non-chronological report is the title Sharks. Our non-chronological report was written about sharks. Another presentational feature are subheadings. Now, subheadings are the smaller headings that summarizes what each section of the text is about. An example from the text was, where do they live? Okay, So that subheading summarised what the next part of the text was about. Underneath that subheading was lots of information about where sharks can live. Paragraphs. We know that paragraphs are a group of sentences about the same idea or topic. Okay, so it's really easy to spot a paragraph because they're groups of sentences together. They usually have a line between them or a subheading comes between them too. So here you can see an example of a paragraph from the text. This paragraph came directly underneath the subheading here, and they linked together. Image or diagram is another presentational feature, okay? And these are pictures to help explain facts further. The example from the text was this image here of a specific type of shark. In the text, it explained different types of sharks, and this image really helps the reader to understand what that shark looks like. Captions are short explanations about the image or diagram, and they are usually underneath or beside the image. Hopefully you can remember writing your own captions in our newspaper reports last half term. Just here is the example of a caption, and that came underneath the image of the shark. This caption says grey reef shark. It helps the reader to understand what type of shark this is. It gives us more information. Fact boxes. So fact boxes are clear boxes or tables that include information. They're easy to spot because they have a border around them. It might be coloured or it might be bold, and then it has information inside. It's separated from the main text. So here is the example from the non-chronological report about sharks. So we've got a blue box, and inside we have got our big facts. And finally, the last presentational feature that we will learn about today are bullet points or numbers. And bullet points and numbers are used to list facts in an easy way for the reader to read. Okay, so a bullet point looks just like this. So usually kind of a smallish dot, or a number looks like this, usually with a bracket or a dot after it. In this non-chronological report about sharks, the writer used a numbered list to list the big facts inside the fact box. Okay, so these are the presentational features that we are learning about today and that we will aim to use in our writing too. Now, it's important to tell you that not all non-chronological reports will use all of these features. Okay, what I'd like you to do now is pause the video and just read this table of information again, or talk it through with someone close to you. Super work, everybody. Hopefully you now really understand those features and how to identify them. Your next job is going to be finding these different features in a text. So on Class Dojo, I have shared a non-chronological report all about ancient Greece. And your task today is to read this non-chronological report about ancient Greece, and then you're going to find examples of the different presentational features that we have looked at in today's learning episode. What I'm going to do now is share the screen on my Boxset book to show you how to present this in your books today. You might just have to bear with me one moment. Whilst I get that up. Okay. Hopefully, you should be able to see that now. Okay, so here you can see my Boxset book. I have written today's date along the top line, and then I have written English because that is the subject we are learning about today. I have used my ruler to underline that neatly. I have listed the presentational features that we have learnt about today on my lines. I've left a line in between each feature. What you need to do is look at your text about ancient Greece and decide whether it includes these presentational features. Then, if it does include that feature, I want you to write an example of that feature where you can. So here you can see that I have ticked that the non-chronological report about ancient Greece has a title. The title was Ancient Greece. I was able to find that because I know that titles are bold and big, and they're usually at the top of the page. Okay? Your task now is to use your text to decide whether these features are used, and if you can, write an example of them beside or below the feature. Great work, everybody. I'm looking forward to seeing your learning from today. Tomorrow, we will be looking at the language features of a non-chronological report. Great work, everybody. Thank you, and I will see you tomorrow.